to do art begin? And I think it begins with the intimacies of the child and mother maternal relationship, in which initially the mother and child engage in a kind of reverie together, where there is a mimicry of each other's states of mind and expressions. And this mimicry then, over a period of time, if it has gone well in the attachment, it cascades into a need for a sense of agency, that the child, after a while, makes a transition from mimicking to trying to have some kind of a construction ability, some kind of a collage of senses, experiences, a kind of recreating of what the mimicry began. And that after that is what happens to children, is that sometimes we destroy their natural ability to engage in this cascade of having agency over their experiences, remolding them, restructuring them, reorganizing them, and we attack this incredibly natural ability with something called teaching art. And what we're doing is we're enormously pompous, actually, because no one teaches art. What we teach is the ability to use materials and the ability to introduce children to materials. Art is an incredibly spiritual, emotionally driven, profoundly innate desire, need, and expression in us. And nowhere have I seen that more powerfully than amongst the children that, the children that we've had the privilege of working with at Kids Company. And I want to take the next 2 minutes to tell you in a nutshell why art is so important for these types of children. Basically, I told you about the love and the reflecting and the reverie between a mother and baby. And this reverie basically programs the baby's frontal lobe, the child's frontal lobe. And now, because we can so much look into the brain in great detail using our scanning machines, what we're realizing is that the greatest art right under our nose is right behind our eyes, and it emerges from the relationship that a child is engaged in with a carer, that in fact relationships are sculpting our brains constantly. And what they sculpt into our brain is the ability to self-soothe and calm down. So that original love and that original reverie between a mother and baby gives you the repertoire to soothe your own mind, to have a spiritual and aspirational attitude. But what happens to traumatized children is that often there is an absence of that mindful reverie between mother and child because the mother is so preoccupied with her own survival. And catastrophically, that child is dropped out of her mind. Some of these children grow up never being reflected back in a tender attachment and engagement. And in addition to that, many have the disadvantage of banking traumatic memories in the emotional centers of their brain. Day in, day out, the experience of terror stores traumatic memories as if they are now. The dramas of the past, the dramas of childhoods gone wrong, is living alive in the brains of many of these kids. The kids are lacking a compassionate other individual who can sit alongside them and process many of these dramas that are frozen, rigid with terror. The first step at Kids Company is to get hold of each of these narratives and in a very safe, careful way become the compassionate other alongside the child, using the arts to manipulate, experience, process, think about, and have a sense of agency over these traumatic memories. It's amazing what a piece of clay or a paintbrush or a piece of drama will do to shift the traumatic memories that are stored. So the first step in terms of using the arts with very traumatized children is to give them the ability to regain that sense of agency that's been lost to them by using the artistic expression, initially, therapeutically, and personally, and then subsequently in the service of reconnecting to the outside world, like a father would a child, reconnecting the child that is born of the intimacies of the maternal care to the outside world as a potent agent, possible creator of the world that we all inhabit. So what I would say about art is bin the idea of teaching it. You only teach the manipulation of materials. And what you do with art is infinitely greater than any discussion could provide a narrative for. However, it's really basic. It's born of that primary attachment and the need to be reflected in some way in the outside world as having meaning and mattering to someone and belonging. So my answer to the question is don't bother asking it. Okay, thank you.
But ask it we did. The next person who is going to put their point of view about can we teach art to the Facebook generation, whoever they are, is Grayson Perry, also known for obvious reasons as Claire, Turner Prize winner in 2003 for his ceramics. He's known for the most gorgeous, glittering ceramics, which on first glance appear to ape the classical traditions, which indeed they conjure up, but the narrative they express and the aesthetic within them is altogether different and of today. Grayson Perry.
Right, hello. Can we teach art to the Facebook generation? Of course we can. But it is a question that throws up interesting thoughts about... I think the thing that I'm thinking about a lot is our relationship to sort of digital culture. Maybe the first thing we should agree is that, contemporary art, anything goes in contemporary art. We're all told that I'm always being asked, is it art? And I'm really bored of that now. That's a 100-year-old thing that Duchamp kind of posed to us in many ways. And it's rapidly ossified into a kind of tradition now in art. Well, I'm much more interested in what is good. So perhaps we can help students learn to judge what is good, fresh, beautiful, in whatever new form they end up working in. And art schools will continue to produce rare talents, though they're increasingly surrounded by more and more untalented people as art schools rake people in to make more money to fund themselves. And if you ask me what the first thing we should teach in art schools is, it's less people. The Facebook generation we could talk art, but perhaps not the art that my generation would, consider as the sort of classic, in the classic sense, and rightly so. I mean, I went to art school in 1978, and I went because I liked drawing and making things. And this seems impossibly quaint now, this idea. I was watching a program recently about the moon landings, the 40th anniversary of the moon landings, and those involved saw it as the greatest technological achievement that man had ever happened, But when I think of the most significant technological advance in my lifetime, which included the moon landings, I don't think it's a great big cock going up into the sky with a couple of guys that will then get sort of new age about the Earth on it. I think it was the internet. I think the internet has been the thing in my lifetime that has the potential to change what it is to be human. And I'm constantly enthralled to it, like a lot of people in my